Welcome to another edition of Snapshot. I'm very pleased to have Alexis Lassard with me today from C3 Gardens. Welcome.
Thank you.
And Alexis, why don't we start off with talking about C3 Gardens? What is C3 Gardens?
Well, C3 Gardens is a high-end container gardening company that also specializes in landscape enhancements. It was started 6 years ago here on Marco Island. We started trialing many different plants for heat resistance, drought tolerance, and many things that are required of plants here on Marco Island.
You had mentioned to me when we were talking earlier about the life of an annual plant and the type of care it requires, and that this environment is actually somewhat harsh. Why don't you expand on that for me? Tell me why your type of service is preferred.
Well, traditionally down here in Florida, you get most of your annuals from a big box store. They look good on the shelf. You pick them out, you bring them home, you plant them in the ground, and they die. They get shocked, they don't have the same fertilizer, and you get frustrated. You think, what can I grow down here? Well, C3 Gardens offers a service that allows your annuals to be hooked up or have access to water all the time. This allows them to never get shocked and grow up to 3 to 4 feet in trailing length for our trailing varieties.
Shocked. Qu'est-ce que c'est shocked?
Shocked meaning, think of being outside in the Florida sun all day long. You drink water just in the morning and just in the evening. During the middle of the day, you're going to be shocked. You're going to be dehydrated, thirsty, not feeling very well, not looking very good. Plants have the same problem.
So plants are like people. They require hydration, they require nurturing, only so much sun.
Definitely. They require all those things. They get sick like people. They just have a shorter lifespan. And they also require love, which I provide that as well.
Excellent. Now, let me ask you this. What are the unique services that you bring? And also, I understand that your plants come from Michigan.
They do.
Okay.
So C3, when you ask us to come out for a free estimate, we will walk you through the design, installation, and the maintenance. We'll come to your property, whether it's a commercial or a residential property, talk to you about how you want to soften your hardscapes, make it look better for your guests or maybe customers coming to your business. Then we'll walk through the installation with you, build the self-watering containers, which we're known for, and then we can maintain the property as well. Depending on, some customers like to be really involved in gardening and some don't like to be involved at all. So we custom fit everything for each customer.
Interesting. Now, I find it interesting because I know your background a little bit. You grew up on a horse farm in Minnesota. And how does that then translate to what you do today? Where did you acquire this amazing knowledge?
It's a combination of a few things, but my background from Minnesota definitely fostered my love for nature and the outdoors and its importance. Throughout my journey at the University of Minnesota, I gained a lot of knowledge and experience, and that led me to travel for a little while. Upon coming back, I met Jack Barnwell and Tom Smith. They're the partners in C3 Gardens, and they trained me to use their systems and their products, and because they're so good at what they do, I've been able to emulate that and then give back some things that I'm good at too.
Excellent. In the background, you will notice that there are examples of C3 Gardens work. Tell us a little bit more about the individual plants, the types and varieties that you have, and why are they grown exclusively in Michigan?
So, like I mentioned before, when you get plants from a big box store, they're often bred to look good on a shelf. Proven winners, where we exclusively get our annuals and most of our plants from, breeds plants to look good for consumers. It's a different type of marketing. We want things to look good for you all year long. We don't want you to struggle. We want it to be easy for you. So we exclusively get our plants from there because they have the best blooms, they have heat tolerance, drought tolerance, they're self-cleaning, all the properties that you want in a high-end landscape. Yeah.
I think you at one point told me that bugs, and there are certainly bugs in Southwest Florida, are attracted more to a diseased plant as well as versus a healthy plant.
Definitely.
Therefore, i.e., your job is to keep plants healthy.
Definitely.
Expand on that a little bit.
So like I had mentioned to you, plants, when they're getting older, they give off a smell. A natural life cycle of a plant is to go through a cycle, seed, and then decompose. The plant gives off a smell. The decomposers in the area will attack that plant, decompose it, turn it back into soil, and the cycle continues. Well, people have intervened and they want plants to last forever, but that just isn't the case. We've come up with the self-watering system and ways to elongate a plant's life and keep it healthier to avoid pest problems. And that's why our system works so well for people in Southwest Florida. Because of the heat and not having a winter, we have tons of bugs and tons of problems. So when you have a plant that's getting old, leggy, and diseased, you're going to attract all those pests, and then even all your other plants around it are going to suffer too. And then getting rid of all those bugs is also a problem, so it's better to prevent.
Then culling the garden from time to time is important. Making sure that as the older plants age, that they're removed.
Definitely.
And then you're bringing in, and part of your service, I presume, is
Definitely.
to bring in newer, healthier plants so that they have a perpetual garden in essence.
Definitely. We have summer and winter plantings because
Okay.
there's a bigger variety of things we can plant down here in the winter. The heat isn't as hot, so it lets a lot of plants bloom.
Alexis, I'd like to dig a little deeper, pardon the pun, but I want to know a little bit about the two people that started the company and what they've done with their respective aspects of C3 Gardening. So.
Sure, we'll start with Tom Smith. He owns Proven Winners. That's where we exclusively get our plants. He started the business with his father when he was very young, built the greenhouse up to the big corporation it is today. It's now the world's #1 plant brand. We have greenhouses all over the world. It's really exciting. So we have the exclusive on many different varieties, up and coming varieties. We're constantly coming out with new and better hybridized products. So that's really exciting. Tom complements Jack perfectly because Jack Barnwell, most notably known for his work on Mackinac Island, which is an island well known for its flowers in the Upper Peninsula. Jack Barnwell does all the design on Mackinac Island. So together their partnership with Proven Winners, having the best product out there, and then Jack's brilliant design, we've created C3 Gardens to help bring that beautiful floral aspect to Marco Island. I do want to point out how important the self-watering system is. It provides a consistent environment for these plants, which allows them to prosper. Just like people, the bottom-fed water is how plants naturally occur in the environment. So we've created that environment in a container, and that adds to a lot of our success.
Well, I would presume that self-watering as compared to allowing either nature periodically to water and or using sprinkler systems which bring in less pure water. I can see why that technology would be important. Plus, when you look at hydrology, you get the sense that it's the consistency of the watering in relationship to the root growth that's important. Do you want to expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, so one of the key features of C3 Gardens is our self-watering containers. That's what makes us different than every other company in the area. There isn't anyone doing what we're doing. We trialed for 5 years with many different self-watering containers, and then we came up with our own custom self-watering container that has a soil to water ratio that works perfectly for the plants. So we create a sort of reservoir, and then allow our special soil, which is blended specially for us and the system from proven winners. It has moisture wicking properties that bring the water up from the bottom to the plants, bottom feed. It has fertilizer in it as well. The combination of that soil, the plants that are better to begin with, and our special fertilizers, that's what really creates the perfect self-watering container that has the big, lush, bold color that people on Marco are looking for
sure.
but haven't been able to find because the technology wasn't there yet.
Okay, so hydration, fertilization. What's the third component?
Love.
Love is like love, or love. Go into a little bit more on with respect to fertilization, because there's tons of fertilizers out there.
Definitely.
And people try to go out and buy something and then institute it themselves, and that just doesn't work the way your garden works. So explain that a little further.
There's a few different ways that we fertilize our plants. Like I mentioned, the soil already has some slow release fertilizers in it that aid the plant. Now those only last so long. Also the moisture wicking properties only last so long. So it's important to change out your soil. Nothing lasts forever.
Well, this is where your service comes in.
Yes.
Because you are attending to these plants on whatever your scheduled contract is.
Definitely.
So that doesn't happen, that the plant stays healthy, vibrant,
Definitely.
and a pleasure to have.
Before the plants get unhealthy, we get them out of there. We're watching them all the time. And like I mentioned before, we have seasonal change-outs, summer change-out and winter change-out, so that they're healthy all the time. You don't ever have to worry about it. You want to go on vacation for 2 weeks? You don't need to worry. When you come back, those plants are going to be big, bold, lush, and beautiful, just like you left them. If you are gone for the summer and you want plants only when you're there, then we plant them up a few weeks before you get there. They're lush and big and have that boldness you want. Then when you leave, we take care of it when you're gone and store your pots.
Sounds like a fine wine.
It's a pretty awesome service, and I'm proud to provide it because I have many clients in Marco and on Naples, and all of them are really happy, and that makes me pretty proud. So
now that brings us to a point. How do people get in touch with C3 Gardens, and particularly with Alexis?
You can email me.
Okay.
I can provide my contact information, and maybe we can put it up on the
You'd be happy
video.
to do that?
Yeah. You can also visit our website at www.c3gardens.com. That's
Excellent.
the letter C, the number 3. And you can also like us on Facebook, if not for anything other than inspiration. We have tons of different containers that we've designed, and you can check them out and try to replicate some of our stuff if you're in for the challenge.
Why don't you share with our viewers a few of the customers that you present, especially commercial customers. I know you do the YMCA on Marco Island. Give us the names of a few customers so people have a reference point.
Sure. We actually do 3rd Street, downtown Naples. We provide their hanging baskets. So if you've ever seen those beautiful flowers, those are us. We do some model homes on the island, and we also do the Marco Island florist, if you've ever noticed their flowers.
Oh, okay.
We don't do the flowers for the Marco Island YMCA, but in my spare time, I've designed a hydroponic vertical garden that is going to grow herbs for children. So it's a chance for kids to grow something from seed, put it and watch it grow, and they'll get a chance to understand the life cycle of a plant, get to bring a plant home with them, and it really teaches them responsibility about the environment, hydroponics, science, because you can see the piping and how the water works. It's really exciting.
So it's an educational component.
Yeah.
I think that's excellent.
So C3 is definitely dedicated to being in the community and sharing our gifts with the people around us. And
that's terrific. Alexis, tell me about the pots, because obviously the design of the pot, the way it's fired, all that is important to what you're doing, and the filter systems or whatever you would call it. Explain that to our viewers, please.
So I'll start from the beginning. We'll come, if you want a free estimate from us, we come to your house. If you already have existing pots, I'll check them out and I'll tell you about them. A lot of times you might have a container that came from China. You can tell by the yellow clay and it's more porous. We prefer to work with Vietnamese planters because they're thicker clay, they hold water, and they're sturdier. So, you know, in our hurricane weather, you want something that's gonna have some girth and some weight to it. Yeah, definitely. But we can retrofit any container that you have. If you do have Chinese planters, we have things we can do to make them non-porous, so that's not a problem. We also we can retrofit any container you have, whether it be cement. We don't like plastic because our system is built to last and plastic isn't here in Florida. So we definitely recommend something that's clay or cement or a harder surface like that. But yeah, we have beautiful pictures that you've been seeing in the background of the different examples of containers that we have retrofitted with our system. So there's tons of options, colors for everyone.
And talk about the science within the plant. What is happening? How is it hydrating in the pot itself?
So the soil at one point touches the water, and the soil has special properties that wick it up through the water. There's no pump, there's no drip line, nothing. These containers are completely mobile. Say you have it in one place this year and you decided you didn't like it there, we can move it anywhere. We can move some from on your lanai into your landscape, creating different textures in your landscape, different colors.
Excellent.
It's really exciting and the possibilities are really endless, especially because there's no drip lines. We all know having a drip line system, they often get clogged, they're a pain. This doesn't happen with self-watering containers.
Usually, so you're kind of stuck with the situation you have, where yours is much more flexible.
And you have an ugly cord. You don't.
Well, that's true.
You don't get any ugly cords with us. You never see. There is a way to put the water in the container, but you'll never see it.
Okay.
So it's really exciting.
No, that's fascinating. I've learned a lot just sitting here talking with you, so I very much appreciate it. Alexis, I'm delighted to have you on the show. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and your time with us. I also want to thank Coastal Breeze News for all they've done in their support of this program. This is the last program of this season. However, look for us in October. We'll be back bigger and better than ever. So thank you so much and have a great summer.